darlings, it's Michaela. So I just wanted to make a video about healthier food choices. So often when we have been kind of tipped off that something might be a better alternative, especially if we're aiming to lose weight, if we're aiming to eat less carbohydrates, often what people do is they just kind of blindly glom onto this thing and think that they can kind of eat it with abandon. And so I just wanted to say that's not true. And also to just make a little distinction in terms of the fact that all products under a certain category are not necessarily created equal. All right, so I want to talk about a few main items and then a couple little like, ooh, you might want to check that out, new items that I've just recently been exposed to. So cauliflower pizza crust, this is something that I really had not had a lot of experience with. A lot of people will use cauliflower rice, cauliflower, like mashed cauliflower, in place of typical starches, as well as grain. And so having a crust, pizza crust made from cauliflower is an alternative that people who are wishing to eat less carbohydrates can sometimes turn to. The thing that I want to share though is that not all cauliflower pizza crusts are created equal. I'm going to link the brands that I found lately that are just like total knockouts, okay? And I found this out by accident, is really the truth. So the moral of the story here is to read the nutrition label, because what I found when after I had this particular cauliflower pizza crust and I wanted to get more, I thought they were all the same, and they're not. So there can be a radical swing with the amount of carbohydrates, even if it's still made from the same basic ingredients. All right, so please read the nutritional label. Please check out the ones that I'm suggesting in the description. Next up are vegan desserts. And so this is something that I've had like a big bone to pick. I think like if you want to be vegan, that's fantastic. If vegan is something that works best for your body, your digestion, your health, wonderful. But vegan is not necessarily healthier. I think everyone is aware of the fact that, you know, Oreos are vegan, potato chips are vegan. There's a lot of bullshit food that is vegan. And the truth is, eating meat, high quality meat, grass-fed beef, you know, what do I want to say, like pasture raised chicken, eggs, pork, like we can have really great sources of protein that aren't modified genetically, that don't have all these pesticides, hormones, things like that injected into them. So I am definitely a meat lover, I'm a meat advocate, but just getting it from a better source or a good source. But with that, I don't discriminate. Like if something is vegan and great nutritionally, delicious, satisfying, not detrimental, why not? So what I want to share is that the other day, I just happened to have picked up this vegan dessert, this like silk chocolate pie, this like frozen dessert, and it was small, 3 servings, or for 1 if you're Michaela eating on her carb feast day. But the thing that I wanted to share was that for a dessert, the calories were quite moderate and the carbohydrates were quite reasonable. So the fact that it was made with coconut flour and coconut milk and it still had sugar in it, it was something that was quite delicious, very satisfying, but it had a better nutritional profile. And so the truth was, I wasn't eating it because it was like everything free, like nut free, soy free, dairy free, gluten free, egg free, but I didn't choose it for those reasons. I chose it because it looked good. And then what I found when I should have looked at the nutritional label first, normally I do, but when I really digested that, it was a really good choice waistline wise, okay, and not full of chemicals or other garbage. So anyway, and again, I think often vegan can just be kind of this catchy label that people think is just automatically better for their health, it's not necessarily, and it's definitely not necessarily better for our waistlines. So looking at the amount of calories and the amount of carbohydrates are like the top two things that you might really want to consider. Okay, so there's that. And then the other things I just wanted to say that I'm newer to the camp of, one are like chip alternatives. So cheese crisps and pork rinds. And so again, I'll link the brands that I've found that I'm pretty impressed with in the description. And so the thing that I just want to share about this is that I was really amazed that these particular cheese crisps and these particular pork rinds that I found actually were the same for the same serving as tortilla chips. That's what I was comparing them to, which I love. Corn chips, yes please. They had the same amount of calories, and the cheese crisps had 2 carbohydrates per serving versus 20 for the tortilla chips, and the pork rinds had no carbohydrates versus 20. And so anyway, it was like, if you want something crunchy and kind of delicious, these might be some good choices. And then the final statement the final thing I want to share, and then I'm gonna just make a big disclaimer about all of this, is, and again, this is newer information for me, fat burners don't really eat much fruit. Like a piece a day, when we're like well established, a third of a cup a day is like what's kind of like quite kosher as people start getting going. You can have as much fruit as you want for your carb feast, but fruit is a very easy source of sugar. Fruit and vegetables are not interchangeable nutritionally. So having fruit for taste, a small amount frequently is fine, but having a large amount often indiscriminately is not helpful for the waistline. So at any rate, the thing that I want to say though, I wanted to rave about are raspberries. So if, I think a lot of people know that berries are a lower glycemic fruit, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, but apparently raspberries are like the top of the heap. Less carbohydrates, more fiber. And so what I just want to share as someone who really enjoys peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I eat these on my carb feasts often, calorically, raspberries are in such a better, they're better seated. They're about like half the calories as a typical jam. So every other jam, apricot, orange marmalade, strawberry, grape, they're all about 50 cherry calories per tablespoon, and raspberry, even things combined with raspberry, tends to be about 30. All right, so there's still carbohydrates, there's still sugar in this, but calorically they are almost half as much as a typical jam. So the big thing that I want to say about all of this is that these foods are treats. They're indulgences to have occasionally, periodically, not always, not constantly. And so what can be really awesome is that within these treats, we can make better decisions that help us with the goals that we're working on while not feeling like deprivation at all, while being completely pleasurable and delightful. And because they're better versions of treats doesn't mean that we now have, permission to just go nuts with them, especially if we do actually want to stay in a fat burning mode, continue to make weight loss faster and easier. All right? So that's all I wanted to say. I hope that was useful. I hope that was helpful. I'm gonna link the items and the brands that I found to be a cut above. And then I just wanna encourage people to read the labels and really, calories count and carbohydrates really matter in the weight loss effort. Fiber is really consequential too. That'll help you to feel more full. That'll positively affect your blood sugar. And then protein will as well. And so those can just be things to kind of note especially if you're making side-by-side comparisons. All right? Anyway, I hope that was great. Should you wish to get your body into a fat burning mode where weight loss is easier, weight gain is harder, health improves, aging slows, and you can still have your cake and eat it too. We still have regular carb feasts to help reset certain hormones that are consequential for weight loss. So there's always a place for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or chips or pizza, should you desire. Okay? That's it. Hope that was great. Be in touch for any reason. Love to all. And until next time.